Welcome back to another episode of English Talk Class. I'm Sarah, and as always, I'm joined by my brilliant creative partner, Mark. How are you doing today, Mark? Are you recovered from our last crazy marketing campaign pitch?
Hey, Sarah. Hi, everyone. Oh, absolutely. I'm fully recovered, my brain is re-energized, and I'm so excited for today's topic. We are moving away from corporate strategy today because we need to talk about something massive that is happening right now.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. It's hard to ignore it. The entire world is looking at one single event, and if you are an English learner, knowing how to talk about this in a casual or professional setting is an absolute game changer. We are talking about the World Cup.
Yes, but not just any World Cup. This is the biggest, most unique tournament in football history, or soccer history, depending on who you ask. It's completely different from anything we've ever seen before.
Exactly. So clear your throat, get your notebook ready, and let's jump straight into Act 1, the Three Giants.
All right, Sarah, let's start with the basics, because even the geography of this tournament is mind-blowing. Usually, one country hosts the World Cup, sometimes two, like Japan and South Korea back in 2002. But this time, it's a triple threat, right?
A triple threat, indeed. For the first time ever, 3 countries are co-hosting the event: the United States, Canada, and Mexico. This is a massive logistical undertaking. Think about the sheer size of the North American continent, Mark. Teams and fans aren't just taking short train rides between stadiums anymore. They are crossing borders and changing time zones constantly.
Wow, that sounds exhausting but incredibly exciting. I heard there are 16 host cities in total. Mexico has iconic places like Mexico City and Monterrey. Canada has Vancouver and Toronto. And the US has cities all over the place, from New York to Los Angeles and Miami.
Yes, and each country brings a totally different vibe to the tournament. Mexico has that deep, passionate football history. They've hosted it twice before, in 1970 and 1986. The Azteca Stadium is practically holy ground for football fans. On the other hand, Canada is expanding its soccer culture rapidly, and the US has these ultra-modern, multi-billion-dollar stadiums.
It's funny you mentioned that, Sarah, because as a copywriter, I always look at the branding. The slogan and the way they are promoting this tournament is all about unity. We are 2026. But honestly, as a traveler, if I wanted to follow my team, I would be terrified of the jet lag and the flights.
That is a very valid concern. Navigating 3 massive countries means fans have to deal with what we call bureaucratic hurdles, like visas, different currencies, and massive distances. The organizers actually had to divide the tournament into regional clusters, East, Central, and West, just to minimize travel times for the teams. It's a smart move to keep the players from burning out.
Regional clusters. That's a great corporate term applied to sports. I like it. So basically, a team might play all their group stage games just on the West Coast, like in Seattle, Vancouver, and San Francisco, to avoid flying 6 hours to New York.
Precisely. It's all about efficiency. But speaking of the group stages and the teams, that brings us to the most controversial and fascinating part of this tournament, the crazy new format. Let's look at how the game itself is changing in Act 2.
All right, Sarah. Let's talk about numbers, because this is where my head starts to spin a little bit. Every single World Cup I've ever watched in my life had 32 teams. It was simple, 8 groups of 4. But this time, it's a total explosion. We are jumping to 48 teams. How is that even going to work?
It is a massive change, Mark. In fact, it's the largest expansion in the history of the tournament. The organizers decided to shake things up completely. Instead of the classic format, we now have 12 groups of 4 teams each.
Wow, 12 groups? That means a lot more matches, right? More football on TV every day?
Oh, absolutely. The total number of matches is jumping from 64 to a staggering 104 games. The entire tournament will last longer. And it means that to win the trophy, a team will now have to play 8 matches instead of the traditional 7. It's a true test of endurance.
8 matches? Man, the physical toll on the players is going to be insane. But looking at the positive side, as an English teacher and an observer, this opens the door for so many countries that never had the chance to qualify before. We will see teams from Africa, Asia, and small nations making their debut on the world stage.
That is the main argument from FIFA. It's about global inclusion. It gives smaller football nations a seat at the table. For example, the expansion gives more direct slots to continents that were historically underrepresented. It's an incredible opportunity for those players to showcase their talent.
I love that phrase, a seat at the table. But I have to ask, as a fan, don't you think this might dilute the quality of the games? You know, having some very strong teams playing against total underdogs in the group stages.
That is the big debate right now among sports analysts. Some people fear the quality might drop in the initial rounds. But honestly, Mark, the World Cup is famous for its fairy tale stories and massive upsets. Remember when Saudi Arabia beat Argentina in 2022? Or when Morocco reached the semifinals? When an underdog plays on this stage, they play with their hearts out. Anything can happen.
That's very true. The drama is what makes it beautiful. And speaking of drama, with this new format, a new round was added, the round of 32. So even finishing third in your group might give you a chance to advance to the knockout phase. The tension is going to be off the charts from day one.
Exactly. The knockout phase will be a complete minefield. One bad day, one mistake, and you go home. But beyond the matches and the tactics, an event of this size changes the entire atmosphere of the host countries. Let's talk about how this is impacting the culture in Act 3, the cultural wave.
You know, Sarah, living through this era is fascinating because soccer, or football, has always been a bit of an outsider sport in the United States and Canada compared to American football, basketball, or ice hockey. But it feels like this tournament is completely shifting the landscape.
It really is. We are witnessing a massive cultural shift. Soccer is no longer just a niche sport in North America. The grassroots movement has been growing for years, and having the World Cup here is like throwing jet fuel on a fire. Major League Soccer is expanding, stadiums are packed, and the younger generation is obsessed with global football stars.
It's a multi-billion-dollar business opportunity too. The tourism influx will be crazy. Millions of fans from Europe, South America, Asia, and Africa are descending on these cities. Imagine the melting pot of cultures in places like New York or Los Angeles during the finals.
It will be an absolute carnival, Mark. And that's the beauty of international sports. It bridges cultural gaps. People who don't speak the same language can sit in a bar, share a drink, and celebrate a goal together. It forces us to practice our communication and empathy skills on a global scale.
I love that. Now, I have to put you on the spot, Sarah. We cannot talk about the World Cup without talking about predictions. Who is your money on? Who do you think is going to take the trophy home in this historic edition?
Oh, putting me on the spot, are you? Well, it's incredibly unpredictable because of the new format and the travel exhaustion. But you can never count out the traditional powerhouses. France is always lethal, Brazil has that hunger to win their 6th star, and Argentina will fight to defend their legacy. But watch out for a European or African dark horse. What about you, Mark?
Well, my heart always wants an underdog to win. I would love to see a team like Japan or a rising African nation shock the world and go all the way to the final. But realistically, the team that manages their squad depth and handles the travel logistics best will win. It's as much a mental game as it is a physical one.
You hit the nail on the head, Mark. Logistics will absolutely dominate the headlines this year. Think about this. A team could play a match in the scorching heat of Monterrey, Mexico, and then have to fly thousands of miles north to Vancouver, Canada for their next game in just 4 days.
Wow, that is a brutal transition. The climate difference alone is going to affect the players' performance. Going from high humidity and altitude in Mexico to the cooler temperatures in Canada, it's crazy. How are the medical teams even going to prepare for that?
It's unprecedented. NFL and NBA teams do this kind of travel during their regular seasons, but football players are not used to this scale of moving around during a one-month tournament. FIFA tried to group the stadiums into 3 regional zones, East, Central, and West, to keep teams in the same general area during the group stages. But once the knockout rounds begin, all bets are off.
I guess the private jets will be working overtime. But speaking of stadiums, some of the venues selected for 2026 are legendary, while others are technological marvels. I saw a video about the AT&T Stadium in Dallas and the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. They look like spaceships.
They really do. These NFL stadiums hold upwards of 80 to 90,000 people. The atmosphere is going to be electric. But there is a catch. Most of these stadiums use artificial turf instead of natural grass. FIFA has a strict rule that all World Cup matches must be played on real grass.
Oh, interesting. So what are they going to do? Ripping up the artificial turf and planting real grass just for a few weeks sounds like a massive and expensive project.
It is. It costs millions of dollars per stadium. They have to install advanced temporary grass systems over the turf, complete with specialized underground watering and lighting systems to keep the grass alive inside enclosed stadiums. It's a massive engineering challenge happening behind the scenes.
That is fascinating. It's a whole industry working just to make the pitches playable. It shows you how much money and effort revolves around this single event.
It really is a massive machine. But let's look at the actual groups, Mark. With 48 teams and 12 groups, the dynamic changes. In the old format, only the top 2 teams advanced. Now, the 8 best third-place teams will also move on to the round of 32.
Wait, so a team can lose 2 games, win just 1, finish 3rd, and still have a chance to become world champions? That feels a bit forgiving, doesn't it?
It does feel a bit less exclusive, yes. Critics say it rewards mediocrity in the group stage. However, from a dramatic standpoint, it means that almost no team is truly dead after the first 2 matches. The final group stage games will be chaotic because everyone will be calculating goal differences to see if they can sneak into those top 3rd-place slots.
That is going to keep the fans glued to their screens until the very last second of the group phase. I can already picture the live tables changing every minute. But tell me, Sarah, which group do you think is the infamous group of death this time? There's always one group that is terrifying.
With 12 groups, the powerhouse teams are spread out a bit more, but Group D and Group H are looking incredibly tough. We have heavyweights from Europe clashing directly with unpredictable, highly physical teams from Africa and South America. There are no easy matches anymore. The gap between the traditional giants and the rest of the world has narrowed significantly over the last decade.
I totally agree. Technology, sports science, and global scouting mean that players from smaller countries are now playing in the top European leagues. They aren't intimidated by big names anymore. When they put on their national jersey, they feel they have a point to prove.
Exactly. And that's what makes the World Cup the greatest show on earth. It's unpredictable, passionate, and deeply human.
It really is, Sarah. At the end of the day, it's a mental and emotional game as much as a physical one. It's all about strategy and adaptability.
Wise words from a junior copywriter. Success in sports, just like in business, is all about strategy, adaptability, and resilience. But before we wrap up today's episode, Mark, we need to do our favorite part. Let's look back at the most important vocabulary we use today.
Yes, it's time for the recap. We used some fantastic expressions today that our listeners can use in their daily English conversations, whether they are talking about sports or working in an office. Sarah, what was your first pick?
My first pick is a classic business and casual idiom, a triple threat. We used it to describe the co-hosting countries, the US, Canada, and Mexico. A triple threat means a person or situation that has 3 different strengths or qualities that make them incredibly powerful or dangerous. For example, in a job interview, if you speak 3 languages, you are a triple threat.
That's an awesome one. My first pick is the phrase, a seat at the table. We used it when talking about smaller countries getting a chance to play in the 48-team format. Having a seat at the table means being included in an important conversation, decision, or group where you previously had no power or voice. It's highly used in corporate environments.
Perfect. My second selection is the term dark horse. I mentioned that a dark horse might surprise us in the tournament. A dark horse is a candidate, team, or competitor who is little known but unexpectedly wins or succeeds. It's a great word to use when talking about competitions, politics, or even a colleague who surprises everyone with an amazing project.
And our final expression for today is to put someone on the spot. I did that to you when I asked for your predictions. To put someone on the spot means to force someone to answer a difficult question or make a tough decision right now, in front of everyone, without time to prepare.
And you did it perfectly, Mark. These 4 terms, triple threat, a seat at the table, dark horse, and putting someone on the spot, are incredible tools to make your English sound more natural and fluent.
Wow, what an incredible journey through the future of football. My brain is buzzing with all these facts and new words. Thank you so much for this conversation, Sarah.
Thank you, Mark. And a massive thank you to every single student listening to us today. Your dedication to improving your English listening skills is what keeps us going.
Exactly. If you enjoyed this episode and want to keep learning English with real stories, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and turn on your notifications. It really helps our channel grow and allows us to create more masterclasses for you.
Leave a comment down below telling us, who is your favorite team to win this World Cup? And what was your favorite new English expression from today's lesson? We read and reply to every single comment. Keep practicing your pronunciation. Listen to this audio again if you need to, and we will see you next week on English Talk Class.
Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.